Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the main card fights for UFC Fight Night, Covington versus Woodley. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the main card. So in our first fight, we have in the middleweight division, Kevin Holland versus Dern Stewart. So this is a very exciting matchup, and I'm not just saying that just to say it but I'm actually saying it because it is an exciting matchup. So look at this fight, right? You got two guys that have definitely turned up a gear or turned it up a notch over like the past year or 2 years, really like the past year for both. Well, maybe the 2 years for Stewart, but Holland has always been turning it up. But like since that loss, his last loss, he has been looking like a completely different fighter, and like he just really willing to go out there and not play around and get his opponents out of there. Like he's really got intentions on his shots, intentions when he's out there, like just to finish the fight and really put a hurt on his opponents. We're in the past. It looked like he was kind of lackadaisical out there and like, just doing stuff that didn't make any real sense out there, and just like kind of almost like he was playing out there. But now like he's not on any games right now, and it's showing. Like he's putting guys out there, he's dropping people, knocking people out with body shots, with punches, and pretty much like I said, all around he's just looking like a different person than before. Like he had always had talent, he had always had the frame, but now he's putting it all together. Now Stewart on the other side, never like no super special, spectacular fighter, but now, I mean, he always was physically imposing, always had power, always was technical, always was sharp. But now he's seeing better ground game from him, seeing better wrestling defense from him. Even though he did drop that loss to Bartosz Pobicki, like in between this stint where he's showing a new form of himself, he's still showing, like I said, he had a little setback, but still, like, regardless, overall, he's been showing a lot. So he's been out there chewing people's legs up, out striking some technical strikers, and it's really just shutting a lot of people down, stuffing wrestlers, takedowns, submitting people. So like I said, he's been showing a will around the game and been showing like he's a different level of threat. Like he's not just gonna be a middle of the pack fighter or like I said, middle of the pack. Like he's trying to climb and be a force in this division. Like, and I said, both these guys right now, this is like a pick 'em fight. Both of these guys are forces in the division. Neither of these guys is here to be here. They're here to be the champions, and it's showing. But I see this fight right here. I feel like now I'm gonna feel like Holland will be the taller fighter by 3 inches. He will have a huge reach advantage with 81 reach versus the 74 reach of Stewart. And what I really think this fight comes down to is the fact who's more well-rounded and who can impose their will more. I feel like Stewart's game plan in this fight will be to chop down the legs of Holland, not allow him to use the reach as much or use that distance as much. So by chopping the legs down, allow him to get on the inside more and land his shots. But I feel like Holland, with that, the more like the boxing he showed in his last fight, and the improved hands, this hand speed, the reactions, the reflexes, I feel like with that boxing, he'll be able to counter a lot of Stewart's attack to the legs. I feel like in the clinch, it's almost a pick 'em in a way with the long limbs of Holland and the creativity. I feel like he could have damage, but I feel like Stewart overall power in the clinch is a little bit better. But then again, like Holland grappling, even though Stewart might have the edge and strength in the clinch, it might have as far as power in the clinch, I feel like Holland presents a threat. Like if the fight goes to the ground, Holland will have a huge advantage on the ground. Like Stewart's showing improvements in the ground game, but it's clear that Holland is the better grappler between the two. So I feel like that edge will make it be a more significant edge in the clinch that Stewart not only has to worry about Holland's knees and elbows, but also the fact that if this fight goes to the ground, this fight can definitely shift heavily towards Holland if this fight goes to the ground. And I feel like Holland will throw more volume as he always has. Not as much power, but more volume. Definitely he's not throwing out these little frilly shots like he used to throw out. Now his shots really got some sting on them. And I feel like Stewart doesn't have really the best head movement, so he'll have to come and cover that distance. A lot of his kicks getting countered with punches and straights, getting caught with hooks. And deal with a lot of sting coming his way. I feel like he'll have success with the kicks, but I feel like Holland will have an answer to that or catch the kicks and go for takedowns. But I feel like this is a very close, tight fight. But I feel like the volume of Holland and the fact that he's the more well-rounded fighter will lean to him getting the decision. Like, so getting takedowns, getting control, not often getting takedowns, but the fact that he'll score a couple, whether he'll hold him down for a little bit of time. But the fact that he either went for the takedown or secured the takedown, went for and or secured the takedown with that control, with his volume, I feel like that will lean to him getting the decision. So it was a close, very tight matchup. But Holland's volume, him exploiting his reach and height and speed, and the fact that he's a more well-rounded fighter will lean to him getting the edge, like I said, in control time, in takedowns, and in volume. So, and that volume, along with that volume, in total significant strikes. So in this fight, I got Kevin Holland via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the women's strawweight division, Mackenzie Dern versus Randa Markos. So I see this fight is they're like two women that I'm not saying they really mirror one another, but it's kind of similar as far as how their fights go. Like neither of them are necessarily the most technical striker. I would definitely say Randa Markos is the better striker between the two. But is it like by a whole lot, or is it consistently better? Not, I wouldn't even say factoring like, oh, it's not that big of a factor. It might end up being a big factor. As far as to me, I don't think it's the biggest factor between the two. I definitely think Markos will have that edge. And it could be a factor, but I'm not saying it's like, oh, she's world nice and day better striking than her. It's not that case. It's a game of inches, and she got a little bit of an edge in the striking. A little bit of an edge. Cardio-wise, Markos. Pace-wise, Markos. But I think this fight really comes down to the fact that Markos, both of these fighters, I think in just about every fight they've been in, the fights have went to the ground. And Markos, I think no matter who she fought, she tries to go for takedowns. And I feel like she's going to try to test her grappling against Dern, even though she knows Dern really best shot is to get this fight to the ground. I don't think Dern wins this fight unless it goes to the ground. But I feel like Markos is going to try to take this fight to the ground anyways. I feel like the striking will be a toss-up. It's probably be close. Then both women are going to be looking for takedowns and control on the ground to whether get a submission. Well, I think Markos more so when trying to get a decision. I don't think she's going to go out there and submit Dern or TKO her on the ground. I feel like she's going to think in this fight she's going to need a takedown. So whoever gets this takedown, whoever gets that top control is going to win this close fight. Or whoever is able to get win the better of the grappling is going to win this fight. Or like the battle of the takedowns and the top control. So I feel like at this fight, I don't think a Markos fight has had a fight that has not went to the ground, has had a fight which he hasn't attempted to take now. I don't think this fight going to be any different. So I feel like this fight will go to the ground. And I think Dern is the better grappler. I think Markos is definitely the better wrestler. I think she can definitely have success with her wrestling. But the fact that I feel like she's going to feel she has the need to go to the ground and she has the tendency to go to the ground, that this fight will go to the ground. And I think Dern is more than proven that she is far as BJJ, the better grappler. And I think when it goes to the ground, Markos might have success early, but I feel like on the ground, she's playing with fire. That's going to backfire. I think Dern out against a reversal, a submission, like I said, so pretty much a sweet reversal or a submission. So pretty much when it goes to the ground, I feel like in that world, Dern is going to be winning. And that's where the fight between this fight, in this fight, I feel that's where it's most important. And I feel like Dern has that edge. So Markos might have the edge in overall experience at this level in MMA. She might have the better striking by a slim margin, but in grappling, Dern has that edge, and I feel like that's the biggest factor in this fight, or the biggest as far as the fight between these two. And I feel like once it goes to the ground, Dern's going to show that she's the better grappler, whether she's on top or bottom, attacking with submissions, looking for sweeps, looking for reversals. And that's what's going to come down to. I think, matter of fact, I think even Markos might be the one that secures the takedown, but I feel like in this fight, it's going to be Dern to always be the one that's taking the better, utilizing that takedown or that grappling exchange better and getting the better Markos in these exchanges. And that's what's going to allow her to win the fight. I think it's a very close fight, with Dern getting a few close submission attempts. I don't think she's able to submit Markos. So Markos is a very tough girl. She's very tough, and she's very, she's a solid grappler in her own right. So I feel like I don't think she's going to tap Markos out. But I feel like a lot of close calls, but pretty much I feel like Dern's going to win the grappling exchanges, and that's what's going to edge the fight to her in a very close fight. So in this fight, I got Mackenzie Dern via decision. Now on to our next fight we have in the light heavyweight division, Johnny Walker versus Ryan Spann. So looking at this fight right here, pretty interesting matchup right here. I think these two guys are pretty much in the same position, even though Spann is on a 2 or 3 fight winning streak, maybe more, and Walker is on a 2 fight losing streak, lost his hype, and trying to get it back, and really hasn't done anything to get it back, except he has done more so things to lose his hype even more. He lost to Corey Anderson, got TKO'd and dropped and TKO'd. And then, I forget who he fought last fight, but I'm forgetting the guy's name right now. Yeah, I just remember his name. He fought Nikita Krylov. And, I kind of, maybe people are underrated Nikita Krylov and how good he is or how much he's improved. But yeah, he lost Nikita Krylov and not the most impressive performance for either guy. Kind of a sloppy fight. But Krylov made the best of it and he won the fight. And Walker just looked flat. He didn't look good on the feet. Definitely didn't look good off his back. Looked tired after one round, and then the second and third round was just pretty much breathing heavily and just looked gassed the whole fight. So not the most impressive performance. Now going against Spann. Spann looked scared against Sam Alvey. Was just able to do just enough in the first and second round. Looked kind of sloppy. He was tagging Sam Alvey out and hurting Sam Alvey, but wasn't able to put him away. Wasn't able to get him to the ground. And Sam Alvey does have phenomenal takedown defense. So it's not like that's a bad thing that you can't take Sam Alvey down, because most people can't take Sam Alvey down, but definitely a lot of people can't hold Sam Alvey down. So that's not the worst case thing. But what was bad about that last fight was that third round where he got caught. He showed the inability to land a shot, and protect himself at the same time. Sam Alvey was able to land a patented counter. And then Ryan Spann was holding on to legs the whole end of that last round and had to get saved by the belt, basically. So not liking either guy in this fight. And I feel like really it's a pick 'em fight just because they both look terrible, really. That's all I can say in their last outings. And really for Walker, his last 2 outings. But I see this fight right here. I think it all just comes down to confidence. I feel like Walker is the more technical striker, and the more comfortable striker, the more explosive striker, the more creative striker. I feel like Spann, if he could get it to the ground, he could have success. But Walker has shown good takedown defense outside of his last performance, so I'm not really sure. Like I said, I can't trust neither of these guys, but from what I've seen outside of that last performance, I feel like Walker should be good enough to defend most of Ryan Spann's takedown defense. I mean, as far as Ryan Spann's takedown offense, not his takedown defense, but yeah, I definitely just feel like it comes down who's more confident on the feet. I feel like Walker should be able to keep this fight on the feet, and he's the more confident, more creative, the longer, rangier striker. And if he could keep in that realm, I feel like he should win this fight. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy fight. It's probably one of those awkward fights that could go either way. Like, you're going to be biting your nails no matter who you bet on in this fight. But like I said, I feel like I'm going to lean to the more confident striker, the fighter who has shown me more on the feet. And I think that's going to be Walker. I think it's a very awkward but maybe exciting fight. But I think Walker's able to get the stoppage in the second round. And yeah, that's pretty much how I see the fight. So in this fight, I got Johnny Walker via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the middleweight division, Khamzat Chimaev versus Gerard Meerschaert. So I'm really just not even going to beat around the bush with this one right here. I think Gerard Meerschaert is not amazing. He's not impressive. Well, impressive to some people, but not really impressive to me. Definitely has some, like I said, some good performances, but overall I'm not really impressed by him. But he is a solid fighter. He does deserve his spot in UFC, and he has won some big fights. Like I said, he more than earns his spot in the UFC, and like they belong and stuff. But like I said, I'm not saying he's not no threat to nobody really at the top of the division. He's a solid fighter, but a middle of the pack fighter. Khamzat Chimaev, but as a matter of fact, like I said, let me cut all that out, all this little intro out. How I see this fight is Meerschaert is a solid fighter. He got a good roll-rounded game, a solid grappler, ever improving striking, ever improving fight IQ. He's getting better with every fight. But against Khamzat Chimaev, what I've seen in Gerard Meerschaert is not really the best takedown defense, and he's a guy that's comfortable, kind of been on his back. And we've seen that end very bad for him against Jack Hermanson. I think Jack Hermanson in that fight, I don't think it was even the best takedown from Hermanson. Like almost like Meerschaert just kind of gave into the takedown. Then on bottom, he thought he was going to do something. Then Hermanson just quickly showed him that you don't want to be here. You shouldn't have done that. And I think when he mounted him, then ground and pounded him out like in short succession. So yeah, it's a guy that not the best takedown defense, especially against world-class wrestlers and grapplers. And a guy that believes his BJJ is solid enough, so he's going to be comfortable going to the ground. So I really don't think he has the wrestling defense to stop Chimaev. I don't think he has this submission offense to really threaten Chimaev too much. So I'd rather see in this fight is that Khamzat Chimaev takes him down relatively quick in the fight. Well, not like he's going to just take him down in the first 10 seconds, but within the first 2 minutes, and starts to work on Meerschaert, starts to break him down. And I think he puts him, I think Meerschaert's going to survive the first round, then get stopped in like the mid portion of the second round. So he'll survive the first round, but in that second round, it's going to be kind of rinse and repeat, not really having answer for the takedowns, almost like he's going to be giving the takedowns up to Chimaev, and Chimaev is going to be enforcing his will on him, and eventually Meerschaert's not going to be able to take it, and he's going to get put out of there via TKO in the second round. So in this fight, I got Khamzat Chimaev via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in our co-main event in the welterweight division, Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Niko Price. So look at this fight right here, Cerrone versus Niko Price. How I see this fight right here, I just think, the truth is that I don't think Niko Price brings a big size advantage over Cerrone. He might be a little bit wider than Cerrone, but he's not like, say, Niko Price is not like a huge, so yeah, he's not the biggest welterweight. So he won't have the biggest size advantage over Cerrone. Then outside of that, Cerrone's, I think, will have a little bit of a height advantage. The longer reach, well, not the longer reach, but I'm not going to get into all that stuff, but he's the more technical striker. He's the more technical grappler. He's the more proven fighter. He's the more experienced fighter by a lot. He's more experienced than pretty much just about everyone, given how many fights he fought. He just talking about just purely off the number of fights inside the octagon. Really, he's probably like the most experienced fighter out there. But not to get into that either. Like I said, he's the more technical striker, the more technical grappler, the more experienced fighter, and overall the more technical fighter and smarter fighter out there. And when you look at Niko Price's body of work, most of his wins have come by like stuff that's just awkward, like what's it called? Randy Brown. Like Randy Brown, it was a close fight. Then Randy Brown just even started to turn the fight around. They got in a weird scramble situation, and he landed some hammer fists from an awkward position that knocked Randy Brown out. It wasn't like no super, not some super thing. It wasn't like he put forth no real technical performance or forth no real smart performance. He just found a moment, landed some hammer fists from an awkward position that put Randy Brown out. Can't discredit him for it, but it's not like like I said, he has never really shown a fight where he has showed clean technique or, like throughout, and it's for like a clean, clear cut performance to say, oh, this guy is ready to take over the division or ready to put make a statement in the division. pretty much every single win he has been awkward. Like in the James Vick fight, I think he took James Vick down first, then James Vick's reversed it around on him. It was bouncing the head off the canvas, then he landed up kicks that knocked James Vick out. So like literally like every single fight he has been like awkward. And we look at his striking, awkward. Like he just swings shots, chin up in the air, swing these big overhands with his big awkward shoulders, and it's like knocking people out. Not the best technique, not the best setup. I don't even think he knows what he's doing a lot of times. But one thing I would say in the Vicente Luque fight, he did show the most improved technique I have ever seen from him. I saw a jab. I saw him actually setting stuff up. I think he caught Vicente Luque with a front kick at one point. So he was showing some improvement. I don't think he showed much more improvement in his head move. He did block a little bit more because usually he got to have his hands a little bit low. So he's picking his hands up a little bit. He's working on some fundamentals. And he, like I say, he's setting things up, but still not the most improvement. Like, he kind of a little bit far in your career now to just start, implementing the basics. Because, I don't know, he got to this point kind of just being sloppy, posing his will on people, pressuring, just like that. And just having like awkward power from awkward angles and this, when you say luck, or I don't know, maybe he trains those positions. But either way, a guy that's, like I said, hasn't really shown a real clean performance, especially in a win. Like, and all his wins is pretty much just go out there and just fight. That's pretty much what it is. He finds opportunities and he wins. He's not a guy that goes out there and really fights clean cut performances and show clean technique, clean fight. I mean, not clean, but good fight IQ and good smart decisions out there and like setting things up. Kind of guy that goes out there and makes things happen or finds opportunities and takes full advantage. And that, like I said, that could get you a very long way. It'd be plenty of people that are super technical and all this and all that, so smart and so this, but they can't find the right ways to win in fights and like when it comes time to win fights or when these opportunities are presented, they choke every time. So credit to him, but he's like the polar opposite of that. Not the most technical fighter, but he finds ways to win. Like he's not no like weak small guy. He got a good frame. He's big. He's strong. Well, not super big, but like I said, good frame, good power, good stats to him. But like outside of that, not really impressed by him. And as far as especially going against Cerrone, I feel who's better in every area. So outside of puncher's chance or kicker's chance or Nico Price chance, like I just see Cerrone is a better fighter in all areas. He'll have a speed advantage. He like guys like Nico Price who like aren't the most technical, definitely not a real solid boxer. A guy that's gonna be winging shots, and he could just punch him down the middle, kick him, and like I said, just pick him apart. Cerrone likes guys like that. He don't like when guys like a real slick boxer or slick technical strikers or at least doing something technical and cracking them. But somebody gonna swing big looping shots. Cerrone beat those guys every day, or big looping shots and looking for takedowns. Cerrone's gonna kick you, shoot your leg up, front kick you in the face, punch you down the middle, hit you with like a 10-piece combo. That's kind of what we see against Nico Price. And Nico, like another fight with Nico Price, he was getting pieced about 10 means, then he found an opportunity, knocked 10 means out. But either way, what I see in this fight, like I said, Cerrone's a more technical fighter all around, striking and grappling, and faster and sharper. And I think he just picks Nico Price apart. I think Nico Price will have his moments. Like I said, he always has his moments in fights. Even in fights he loses, even fights he gets destroyed, he has his moments. But I feel like he won't have enough moments to win the fight. A puncher's chance, but I feel like Cerrone dominates him. Can beat him in every area. Like I said, a fun fight, but I feel like Cerrone's gonna be the one landing the cleaner shots. And I think as Cerrone chews him apart, like starts to really start to dig into him as the fight goes on. First, start filling him out, finding his range and finding his time and finding his setups. Close first round, and then the fight goes on. Cerrone starts to finds those things and starts to land the shots clean and start to land those kill shots. It starts to wear on. Nico Price probably breaks his nose, busts his lips, go to his body a couple times with kicks. Then in that third round goes up top with the head kick, drops him and finishes him off with that head kick and some ground and pound. So in this fight, I got Donald Cerrone via third round TKO. Now to our main event we have in the welterweight division, Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley. So we got the former interim champion versus the former undisputed champion. This fight was supposed to happen like several years ago, but now it's happening now. So how I see this fight right here is I feel like Woodley has shown more a much more diverse and well-rounded skill set than he has been showing as of late, and then he has been in as far as that he's been utilizing. Like I think in some fights he kind of utilized his full skill set, especially the Till fight is a perfect example of Woodley's full skill set. He was doing kicks to the body, kicks to the leg. He was actually setting things up. He was freezing Dern Till up on the striking, held Till to 0 strikes, dropped him, and submitted him. So he fought he couldn't get a takedown, but outside of that, he did just about all you can do in MMA to Till, and Till literally had no answer to anything he had. Then you see fights where he just literally looking for an overhand and not even throwing not even 5 strikes, 3 strikes or less, or 1 strike or lesser fight. And that's kind of the worry with Woodley. And that's why I'm really going to lean to that type of Woodley showing up. in all honesty, I would have hoped that, I would want Woodley to come up and show up as the best version of himself ever and just destroy Covington. Not that I hate Covington, but more so I like Woodley more than Covington. But like I said, I predict fights not because of who I like, but because of how I see the fight going and what the trends are and how they show him. And even if Woodley did show up in his best performance ever, in his best shape ever, he's ever shown or maybe that we ever seen, that'd still be hard to pick him against Covington, because a guy like Covington, even when Woodley was, like I said, on it and not looking like a half or less of himself, he still will have issues with a guy that's going to throw that much volume, a guy that's going to have that high of a work rate, especially when you're a guy that likes to, put your back foot on the cage and or put your back against the cage or to the cage or hang around the cage. That's not good when you're going against grapplers and wrestlers, especially a wrestler like Covington that does like 1,000 strikes a round and is always working. So pretty much when you put your back on the cage, you're pretty much saying, grapple with me. So you're back against the cage pretty much with little ease. Somebody can initiate a grappling match with you. So you're back against the cage. All he has to do is throw one punch, duck under, and he's in the clinch. Or you got to do one feint and he's on the takedown. He's on your hips and you're against the cage. And now you got to work off the cage. And so you're pretty much put him in a position where he can easily initiate grappling with you. I can see if you were moving, you would cut an angle, you were sticking, doing a jab, you're doing feints, and you were stepping off and not being this open target for him to set up grappling, then that would be hard. But you literally put yourself in the worst position possible against a grappler. Now you're going against another grappler who could do pretty much the same things that Usman did to you. Put you against the cage often, initiate easy takedown exchanges, duck under. Like I said, throw a couple punches, duck under, got already at your hips, already at your leg, working against the cage. And Woodley does got decent takedown defense, but if a guy's just relentlessly shooting takedowns on you, he's eventually going to get one on you. And even if he's not getting one, if you're only throwing one strike around, even if he doesn't get a takedown, he's winning by having cage control. So, but really what I just see, Woodley kind of looking for that, looking for that overhand. Covington pretty much feinting and drawing volume and pretty much drawing that overhand out or making him draw it out early. And then from that, he, just keeps going back to the strikes or go to takedown. He just mixes up. And like I said, this pretty much freezes Woodley out, having Woodley never knowing when to throw that right hand and just looking lost, like he looked in his last two fights. But like I said, Woodley is to win. I feel like he should utilize that takedown defense. Not only when he defends these takedowns, but defend the takedown, throw knees to the body, elbow Covington in the head, release, and this fire on him. Throw that leg kick out there, take away some of that, like I said, the wheels of Covington, that which will hinder his wrestling, which will hinder his movement. Like I said, defend the takedown, make him pay for the takedown, put some volume out there, and just don't let him work on you. Make him pay for everything he does. Even though you might not throw as many strikes as he does, make sure your strikes count for more than his 10 strikes. If you're going to throw one strike, you better make it count more than his 10 strikes. And not just let him throw 10 strikes and get away with it. But like I said, to get to the point, I feel like Covington, with Woodley, like I said, he's going to be in his last two fights, just looking for that one big shot. And the tape is already out there and people already know. And Covington has already trained with Woodley and had already seen Woodley lose twice. The blueprint's been out there, and Covington has pretty much the best the best skill set to implement that strategy. Best skills and tools to implement that strategy. And Woodley has not shown an answer for that. I don't think any point in his career, especially not now where he's currently skidding. I feel like even with motivation, all he's going to do is make Woodley even tireder because he's going to be trying to force things or trying to do this and try to do that. He's going to be out there gassing out just because he's so in his feelings. And basically, yeah. What was that song that Woodley had? I'm not even going to sing it, but yeah. It's something like that. But so yeah, Covington going to be in there throwing volume. Woodley not going to be throwing a lot, be trying to overstand on that overhand and be looking for that big right hand. And Covington's going to take full advantage of that, with Woodley just pretty much giving up that takedown and hanging around the cage like he always does. Easy takedowns, or at least easy situations that open up takedowns. And whether Covington gets takedown success early or late, the fact that he's getting that cage control time, just going to wear on him. And eventually, if he's not getting there early, he's going to be getting those takedowns late. First thought, earlier rounds, Woodley might be able to defend the takedowns, but a guy shooting 20 takedowns at the caliber that Covington is of a wrestler, they're eventually going to get some takedowns on you. Whether he takes him down and fully controls him, or just has him hanging against the cage, or has him on his butt or something, or have him on a knee, all of that is draining, and all of that is leaning to Covington winning. So in simple, Woodley not doing much, Covington outworking him to a decision. So in this fight, I got Colby Covington via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the main card of UFC Fight Night, Covington versus Woodley. And as always, thanks for watching.